weapon on our list is the Cleric's Candlestick. Reason being, we're basically just ignoring the spell casting. It's decent, but we're ignoring it. The damage that it has at max stats and plus 10, yes, plus 10, it's a boss weapon, plus 10, is 453. Now that may seem decent, but it's split damage. Though it is a good weapon for beginning when you're trying to do magic damage. Otherwise...
Now, you may have noticed in the preview I'm only running a plus 9. That's because I really wasn't planning on looking up or putting a slab into it. But aside from that, its damage is mediocre. On top of that, this weapon doesn't have the best bleed damage. In fact, it's got one of the lowest, with the lowest being the washing pole. You just overall won't get a whole lot of damage out of it. Its bleed is actually very nice. Its bleed crit's pretty good, but aside from that, you're not going to really do a whole lot of damage. There's a couple things I can give credit to, and that is, well, for a start, it does bleed damage. If your luck is high enough, bleed is just kind of unfair. But second thing is even though it's considered a unique, it still has the regular sword art for most straight swords and long swords. So give it props, but it's only the good things that we're going to name from there.
Scimitar. Reason being, it caps out with a max damage of 391, which makes it the weakest curved sword in the entire game. Granted, it's stronger than twin swords, but those are twin swords, so they're stronger. Also, it has one of the shortest ranges of all the curved swords. The only thing it has going for it is it swings fast.
Now, don't get me wrong, Eleanor used to be one of the strongest axes in this game. Even though it caps out at 461 damage, there's a reason to why it's no longer the strongest. So it used to be its weapon art had a ton of bleed added on it. You could instant bleed somebody about 2 or 3 hits, its damage was a lot higher, and overall it just wasn't a terrible weapon. But thanks to, Miyazaki's fun little distribute, I want to say, about this game, they nerfed it to the dirt. So now, even though it says that its weapon caps out at 461, half that and you got the weapon itself.
This is the pickaxe. Reason being, it caps out at a damage of 477 as a great axe, which means its swing speed is slow. Really slow. Now, its weapon art is galvanized. It gives you basically the same stamina recovery as the grass crest. While that's neat and all, it doesn't work completely efficiently unless you're two-handing the weapon, which slows your attack speed even more. The only thing that I could say is good about this weapon is you can have shenanigans with it.
I'm sorry, I meant the Saints Biden. Now, if the top 5 were okay and decent and have some spectacle, the rest of them do not even have anything worth using them for. Saints Biden is one of them. It may say that it has high damage, yes, of, 452. That is a lie. This thing can barely cap out any damage at all. Considering I'm using it against Corvians that are weakness to any form of faith, and I'm only dealing about 200. The problem with this weapon is they decided to add a whole update in the game where everything had a faith or intelligence scaling if it was, say, a faith weapon, which dropped its damage a lot since it now does a ton of split damage. Its weapon art is as generic as any other spirit is thrust, so if you're looking forward to just getting this weapon, I'd suggest rather just using a spear. You'd save your time with something actually valuable.
Number 4 is even worse than the Saints Biden. It's the 4-pronged plow. Now, this pitchfork caps at a max damage of 421, which is less than the Saints Biden. Not only that, its charge, if you try to charge and you miss, you fall down. Literally, it's a joke weapon. Though that's the only thing good about it. I would use it for shenanigans. Again.
Spear. Now, noticing how the other 2 were spears kinda indicates how good Dark Souls 3 spears are, right? Not all of them are great. So, why is this weapon on this list? Is there any redeemable qualities? No. There is nothing good about this weapon. Its damage is extremely low, and on top of that, its other form, which we'll explain later, has a very dumb process to it that I'll go over when we get over to the last part. Other than that, this weapon highly focuses on the more mana you have in your bar, the stronger the weapon is. And considering the weapon can barely do about, say, 170 a swing, it's not that great. On top of that, its weapon art doesn't even do very much damage. It's just meant to throw enemies away from you. So fuck this weapon.
Now you may think, twin daggers, amazing. They have quick step. Holy shit. No. They do only 273 damage. You may think, that's fine. It's not. Although you can get multiple hits in and slowly whittle away their bar, it's very slowly. So, if you aren't willing to play around with your enemy, don't use these. Just don't. They suck.
First weapons, we have number 1, the tailbone short sword. Now let me get this out of the way. All the weapons on this list, if you know how to run them correctly and you can run them perfectly, that's fine. But to anybody that wants to say the tailbone weapon is good outside of PvP, I dare you to challenge me. This thing barely caps at even 250 damage at the highest stats you can get. On top of that, its ability isn't even that great. It's just a flawed weapon. To make it even worse, like I said with the with the spear, it shares the same thing of it's the rarest weapons in the game and they do horrendous damage. So the whole key tap with the weapon arts from these weapons are the more mana that you have, the stronger that it is. The less mana you get from, I believe it's 5th or 6th, the weaker it gets. So there's honestly no point in running the weapon art, and the critical for this thing as a dagger isn't even that great. So explain to me how at any point in time in the main game, other than PvP, will you ever find yourself using this thing? It is bad. I'm Deathbringer57, that's Shadow Price, and fuck the tailbone short sword.
Number 10 on our list. Fuck. Number 10 on our list is the Scholar's Candlestick. Reason being, we're basically ignoring the spellcasting. Fuck. Number 10 on our list is the Scholar... It's Clerics.